Okay, let's just dive right in. We're going to explore what might be one of the most fundamental questions you can ever ask yourself. And it sounds pretty simple on the surface, but trust me, it has the power to unravel, well, pretty much everything you think you know about who you are. So let's get right to it. And I gotta warn you, for a lot of people, this question is, well, it's pretty terrifying at first. Just let that sink in for a second. Who are you without your story? Really feel the weight of that. When you actually let yourself go there, what happens? For most of us, right, there's this immediate, almost physical reaction. You might feel a tightening in your chest, this sense of danger. And why is that? It's because our story, that whole collection of our wounds, our triumphs, our roles, it feels like the very ground we stand on. So to question that, wow, it feels like you're questioning your own existence. And our immediate knee-jerk reaction, it's always to throw out these story fragments, these labels, right? I'm a survivor. I'm a mother. I'm the funny one. We hand over these little narrative snapshots like they're our ID cards, totally believing that these roles are the sum total of who we are. But are they? Really? Or is it just a script we've been reading for so long we've forgotten it's a script? Okay, so to really get this, we've got to break down what this story thing even is. Like, how does it actually work in our lives? Think of it like this. You've got this little narrator inside your head, right? A biographer who literally never sleeps. It's constantly taking all the raw, messy data of your life and spinning it into this ongoing saga. This voice is the commentator, it's the judge, it's the storyteller, and it's defining everything, your past, your present, and what you think is possible for your future. And this is where it gets really interesting. There's a huge difference between the story we tell ourselves and the life we actually live. On one hand, you've got the map. That's the commentary, the lens, the judgment. And on the other hand, you have the actual territory, the raw event, the pure sensation of just being here. The big problem? We spend almost all of our time mistaking the map for the territory. And here's the real catch, right? These stories, we build them for a reason. They're supposed to keep us safe, to help us make sense of a chaotic world. But over time, man, they can turn into prisons. That story of being the successful one can totally shatter if you get laid off. The story of being the victim can poison every new relationship you have. They start to box us in, They limit who we think we can be. And that right there, that's exactly why the thought of letting go of the story is so scary. The second you even consider it, this panic sets in. Your whole identity feels like it's under attack. A question like this, it just triggers this primitive alarm bell deep inside. Wait a minute. If I'm not the one who was wronged, or if I'm not the one who's always struggling, then what's left of me? It honestly feels like the ground is just dissolving from under your feet. And you know what that panic shows us? It reveals something really profound, which is that we've made our own existence conditional. It's like we only feel real as long as we can tell a coherent, believable story about ourselves to this imaginary jury in our heads, our parents, society, maybe even our own younger self. But here's the big question. What if what's on the other side of that panic isn't a void? What if it's not nothingness? What if it's something else entirely? Something that was actually there all along? See, when you manage to just set the story aside, even for a moment, what's left isn't a blank space. It's this. It's the simple, vivid, unedited fact of just being present. It's the awareness that was here long before the first word of your story was ever written. People who get a glimpse of this state, they often use this really strange, almost paradoxical language to talk about it. They might say something just like this. The personal I, the main character of the whole drama, it just disappears. And guess what? Nothing terrible happens. The world just keeps on going, but without that constant narration. And this just illustrates that paradox perfectly. The ego, the center of it all, is gone. But what's left is an emptiness. It's a feeling of complete fullness, of aliveness, where everything is just happening without a main character trying to take credit for it all. So the key thing to get here is that this is a state that comes before language. It's that raw hum of aliveness, that pure sensation of being, before your mind jumps in and asks, hey, whose aliveness is this? It's the experience itself, before it gets owned by a me. So what are we supposed to do with all this? What's the takeaway? Well, the goal isn't to just blow up our story and pretend it never happened. No, it's about fundamentally changing our relationship to it. And I absolutely love this metaphor for it. Your story stops being the house you live in, the walls, the ceiling, the whole prison. Instead, it becomes like optional furniture. You can use it when you need it, like you need to explain your work history in a job interview or share a memory with a friend. But then you can just set it aside. It becomes a tool, not a cage. And this shift has huge practical implications for your daily life. Just look at this process here. Okay, so an emotion pops up, let's say anger. The old way, the default programming, is to immediately fuse with it. I am an angry person. But with this new awareness, you create a little gap. You can just observe it. Oh, look, there is anger here. And in that tiny space, that pause, that's where you find the freedom to choose how you actually want to respond. This ability to disidentify, to see your thoughts and feelings as weather patterns passing through you, not as the sky itself, it is absolutely transformative. This is the engine of psychological resilience. It's what allows us to honor our past and everything we've been through without being completely colonized and defined by it. And so after all this talk, this whole exploration really just brings us to a final, very simple invitation. A chance to just experience this for a moment.
Not getting lost in the story of the past or worrying about the story of the future. Just right here.
Right now, in this exact moment, before the mind can slap the next label onto it. Just to experience what's here, directly, this moment, with no caption needed. And just for once, is that enough? Is the simple, unstoried fact of being alive right now, without any explanation, is that enough? I'll just leave you with that.